Hello, my name is Jennifer Roberts, and I am an associate professor at the University of Maryland. I work as an active living, health equity, and truth-telling scholar, and my work draws on history to expose, understand, and dismantle the health disparities and social injustices that marginalized populations and communities of color have endured over generations. March 21st, the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, the Day of Anti-Racism, is important to me because I believe in the quest for an anti-racist society where the basic human rights of health, equity, and justice are no longer denied to anyone. In terms of eradicating racism globally, I believe that we are closer to achieving this goal in comparison to 100, 50, or even 25 years ago. But we still have quite a bit of work to be done. For one, I think that there's more of an acceptance of racism, that it existed or that it still exists today. But in my opinion, there still is a lack of understanding for the connection between structural and institutional racism that may have occurred in the past and how that is connected with the outcomes we see today. For example, historic racist policies like redlining that began in the late 1930s in the United States and that was governmentally sanctioned has resulted in more people of color living in areas with less trees and parks and other green spaces compared to white communities today. And that's just one example. So even though there may be less people today who are personally racist, many societies and communities are still grounded and operationalized in the structurally racist policies of yesterday. It seems as if we're seeing an increase in racism, hatred, and divide in communities all throughout the world. And I believe that's because folks are scared. They're scared that they'll lose something, whether that's a job, a home, or an opportunity. But what I would like to tell them is that this is not a zero-sum game, or as Heather McGhee says, the ideal that progress for some must come at the expense of others. That is a fallacy. And until we all understand that racism costs everyone, we cannot eradicate it. I mentioned Heather McGhee, and I would like to recommend her book. The title is The Sum of Us: What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together. I've lived in many different parts of the United States, traveled to many parts of the world, and been able to connect on very deep levels to people who are very different from me. These profound interpersonal connections really remind me that we are all just human, and we all have the same fundamental wants, desires, and needs. So I do believe that we can all live together as one, irrespective of skin color, political views, religious beliefs, or any other difference. But again, there is still work to do, and that is why on March 21st, Anti-Racism Day, we all must take prompt and powerful steps to combat racism, racial discrimination, and xenophobia. And for anyone who may feel disempowered, unequipped, or just overwhelmed by this work we have to do to eliminate racism, you're not alone. This is a pretty big job. Start small. Introduce yourself to someone from another culture. Educate yourself with books, documentaries, movies. For example, one movie I highly recommend is Origin by Ava DuVernay. It's a profoundly beautiful piece of cinema about racism and the overarching global caste system that will leave you deeply touched. Take a friend, discuss the film over coffee afterwards. It's just small steps like this. Thank you for listening. Live well and in peace.